Hello, everybody. Hello, world. How are you? Glad to be with you. If it wasn't for you, there'd be no need for me. So I'm very happy that you're out there. You know I love you. Welcome to the Ken Simmons Show for Area 58, Community Access Media. I am Ken Simmons. I got a great guest with me today, somebody you don't want to miss because he served the community well for a lot of years. And today we're going to say goodbye to him. Sad to say, but glad to say, because he's going to start a new life, maybe a new career, maybe who knows? Who knows what he's going to do? His time will be his own for the first time in his life, probably. But we'll find out more about that in a little while. I've got to tell you a quick story before I introduce you to my guest. As you know or may not know, I was a hairstylist for most of my life, enjoyed every minute of it, never worked a day in my life. And I hooked up with a company called Kanagafushi Chemical Industries Company in Osaka, Japan. And they made a variety of things. They were a huge conglomerate. They had a wholly owned subsidiary in New York, and that was where my office was. I used to go there every Monday, and from there I'd go out all over the world, certainly all over the country. But this one time, I used to go to Osaka once a year for 2 weeks. They wanted to see me. They'd sit down, they'd wine me and dine me and review me and question me and want to know what's going on. And we were very good friends because they hired me. They wanted to increase their share of a certain product. They had an 18% share. And when I left, because of the team we had, not because of me, we had an 80% share, 80. So they came to New York this time, the big boss, the president of our division. He came with his entourage, 2 guys, and we sat down in the conference room in the New York offices, and we started talking. Suddenly, the president jumped up. Now, they're speaking Japanese. I understood a lot of it, but not all of it. I understood that he wanted to go to Disneyland, not Disney World in Florida, Disneyland out in California. And so it fell to me to take these 3 guys to Disneyland. We took off from New York. I'm hurrying this up because I've only got a couple of minutes. We took off from New York, we landed in LA, we went to Disneyland, and now they want to go to Disney World in Florida. So I made arrangements for the airlines. They picked us up. We went to Disney World. This is all the same day now. I hadn't had any sleep for 24 hours. And they were sleeping on the way, on the plane, on the limousine, whatever we were in. I was too upset, too nervous, and too distraught to sleep. So we got to Disney World. We roamed around Disney World for a while. Now a couple of days have gone by, still no sleep. We had something to eat. And we had had a prior appointment in Haiti, Haiti, Haiti. We had 2 factories there. Now we've got to drive from Orlando, Disney World, to Miami, get a plane to Haiti. Still no sleep for Ken. I don't know. Thank God I was young. So we went from Miami to Haiti, got to Haiti, went to the factories, did business all day long, went that night to a beautiful restaurant up in the mountains in Haiti. And when we got out of the restaurant, I'm going back to the car because I'm driving the car, rental car, and I could feel the world closing in, narrowing down. I tried to make the car, didn't make it, fell forward on my head, passed out. When I woke up, my boss was standing over me this far from my face. Give me an order a plane, get this man back to Miami, get this man back. I said, Ed, I'm okay. We went back to the motel where I had a good rest because I hadn't had any sleep. I knew what was wrong, I just didn't have any sleep. By the way, the big boss in Japan, when he saw what had happened and all I'd been through for him, I got a 25% raise in pay. So it was all kind of worthwhile. I thought I'd tell you that because you're not interested. It's over for me. I thought I made an interesting story. All right, I'm going to introduce you to my guest. I'm going to ask him a lot of personal questions, see what he's got to say. So don't go away. Take off your shoes, pour yourself your favorite beverage. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I warned you. I warned you. I'm only kidding, of course. I want to introduce you to my guest, but before I do, I want you to know, I think you already do, any veterans out there that are listening to me right now, I think the world of you, and I probably do about anything in the world I could for you. We've done some shows at the VA in Brockton, which I enjoyed very much. I stopped doing them, I think, because we did disable veterans, and it kind of got to me a little bit. It shouldn't, because it doesn't get to them. When you talk to them, you'd think nothing was wrong. I talked to a quadriplegic, and off camera he said to me, listen, when we get through with this damn show, how about going out and having a couple of drinks and see if we could dance? And, you know, I said to myself, that's funny, but coming from him, that's heroic, in my opinion. So, speaking of veterans, my guest is the veterans agent here in the town of Carver. I just did his boss, the secretary of the Division of Veterans Services, a member of the governor's cabinet, a high-class guy, as is my guest, Mr. Ken Morrison. Good to see you, Ken.
Hey, thank you for that generous welcome.
We had a little trouble getting Ken here, but that's fodder for another show. Ken, you're the veterans agent here.
That's
How long?
correct.
How long have you been the veterans agent?
16 years.
16 years.
Yeah.
And have you enjoyed it for the most part?
Up until recently, when it just got so busy and I needed more staffing, it used to be a great job. It used to be one of those jobs where you came into work and you were able to help people and you had time to think and plan and just do it right. And that was back in 2002. And my budget was $75,000, and that was just money to help veterans in the community.
That's all you had was $75,000?
75,000. We had an average of about 12 families that we were taking care of, trying to augment their income to help them to be able to afford both food and medicine. And over the years, of course, we did everything we could to get the word out, but that is really the hardest part of it. And that's why this show is so important, Ken. You do a valuable service to the community.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. But listen, I don't want to talk any more about what you do or what I do.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you some personal questions.
Okay.
Are you married?
Yes, I am.
How long?
I've been married since 1984.
Oh, my God, I got to do the math.
Yep.
34 years?
34 years. Well, it'll be 34 years in June.
In June.
And I've got 3 beautiful daughters.
Yeah, we talked about your daughters in your office, and you painted such a glamorous, glorious picture. We all love our kids, there's no question about that. But you showed me the pictures of these girls, and every one of them could be in Hollywood.
Yeah, they're gorgeous kids, but more importantly, they're good kids.
That's the important thing, yeah.
And they've made good decisions.
You have no boys?
No boys.
Okay, all right.
I think that's how we got Kayla. My wife was pushing for the boy. We got the third girl.
How old is Kayla?
Kayla right now is 27 years old.
27?
Oh, she'll be 27 in May.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old's your oldest?
Memorial Day. She was born on Memorial Day.
How old's your oldest?
My oldest is Sarah. She was born in '86, so she's 30. She'll be 32 in September.
Okay.
And my middle girl, Nicole, she'll be.
Now you said the oldest was born in '86.
Yep.
Didn't you tell me you got married in '87?
No, I got married in '84.
Oh, okay.
Good try.
I'm only kidding, of course. Okay, so you live in Carver, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
We moved to Carver in 1984. We had just gotten married, and we grew up in the city. My wife grew up in Revere, and you can take the girl out of Revere, but you can never get the Revere out of the girl.
Yeah. Where were you born? Where did you?
I was born in Boston. I grew up in Roxbury.
Roxbury.
And I went into the Navy when I was 19. I was barely able to get in. I had an unfortunate experience when I was 14, got the last rites.
This is a family show. Go ahead.
And I
You
was
got the
lucky.
last rites?
I got I'm Catholic, and I received the last rites.
That sounds kind of serious.
At Boston City Hospital, and I made the unfortunate mistake of climbing a rather large oak tree with a friend, and I fell.
Oh my God.
And I almost didn't survive that, but you know, when you're 14, you can almost survive anything.
Oh yeah, when you're young, you're invincible. Nothing can hurt you. Yeah.
So I survived it, and all my friends were going into the service. It was Vietnam, and they were going into the Army, and I wanted to go, and my mother said, you try to go into the Army or the Marines, and I'm going to get your hospital records, and I'm going to take them down to the recruiter's office. So she said, you can go into the Navy or the Air Force, and my dad was in the Navy during World War II.
Okay.
And that would be a great show, because he was in on a Fletcher-class destroyer,
Wow.
the destroyer that won the Pacific. And he got severely damaged, and he died when he was 44, in part because of those injuries. But anyway, so I, of course, said, I'm going in the Navy.
Yeah.
So I went into the Navy, and I didn't know it, but they had written a trial of duty. So I went in, and they signed me up for underwater demolition.
Oh my God.
Then they found out that I was barely able to do anything physically. So they changed plans real quick, and I ended up in naval aviation. And
Okay, we're gonna suspend that for just a minute,
Okay.
because we've only got a couple of minutes left.
Okay.
And I wanted to ask you, what did you do before you were the veterans agent? What was your occupation?
I worked for the United States Postal Service.
Okay.
And
A letter carrier?
No, I worked in, well, I did do some letter carrying when it was a casual appointment, a temporary appointment, and I eventually got called in for a career appointment.
Okay.
And I worked on those crazy machines that you probably saw back in the 80s, where the people were doing key punch and the letter was going in.
Let me stop you for a minute, Ken. I was a IBM operator when I got out of the Air Force.
Uh-huh.
They made me an IBM operator. So I know all about key punches and verifiers and tabulators and reproducers and collators.
That's what I did.
And all that, yeah.
But it
Okay.
was-
So you and I have something in common,
Yes.
besides women.
Well, I'm a married man.
Of course you're a married man. I know that, and I respect that. What does your wife work?
Yeah, she's a registered nurse.
Registered nurse. Okay. Where?
And, well, she works from home now.
Okay.
But she worked with the VNA. She worked at the Malden Hospital. That's where we met.
VNA is
Visiting Nurse Association.
Visiting Nurse Association.
But that's how I met her. I was going in for surgery when you get yourself almost killed when you were 14. You have lingering issues.
Really?
So I needed knee replacement surgery, and I was going in, I think it was an arthroscopic thing, and I met her. And then after I got out, I wanted to see her again, and we met.
Still in love?
Oh yes, she's still my bride.
I'm going to ask you one more question before we go to break.
Okay.
Is your wife look anything like your daughters, or do your daughters look anything like your wife?
My wife is gorgeous, my kids are gorgeous, and fortunately they get that from their mother.
Your girls are, I'm not saying this just to say it for him, because I don't care about him, but his girls are absolutely exquisite. They really are exquisite.
I'll tell you real quick, Ken.
No, you're not going to tell me
Okay.
anything? We're going to save it for the next segment, because that's the end of this segment, whether you like it or not.
Yes, sir.
Don't you go away. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and happy to be. Hey, stick around, because the next show I'm going to have a lady on who owns her own kitchen and bath installation company. And I'm always happy. Remember we did the lady who owns an auto body shop here in Carver? Well, this lady, and she's a young, beautiful lady, not that that has anything to do with it, but when ladies are trying to crack that glass ceiling and trying to do something that is a little unusual for ladies. An auto body shop is kind of unusual for a lady, at least at my age, because when I was younger, ladies didn't get involved in that. But I think it's wonderful that you do. So she's going to be my next guest. And you don't want to miss her. She's great. But let's get back to my present guest. You don't want to miss him either. Ken Morrison. We're talking with Ken. Good to see you again. We've been gone for a couple of days. You didn't know that. You thought it was only a minute or two, didn't you? Ha ha ha. Okay. Ken, I want to ask you about, you dealt with veterans.
Yep.
Did you find it, did you find them problematic? Did you find that they had issues that weren't really important? Did you ever find that? Did you find that they were wasting your time, maybe?
No, on the contrary. The people who come into my office need help, whether it's financial or medical. Veterans are unique, are a unique part of society.
Amen.
And a lot of them, a lot of the elderly and the survivors of the veterans from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, they need help financially to afford medicine, food, shelter expenses. And fortunately, Massachusetts has the program to alleviate that need, and that's Veterans Benefits under Mass General Laws, Chapter 115. And I urge any veteran in the community who hasn't called me already, please call me if you're having a tough time, whether it's a medical issue, whether it's you need help with a VA claim, or whether you need...
Let me stop you for a minute, Ken. That's very good advice, what he just said. If you're a veteran, or the spouse of a veteran?
Yep, the survivor of a veteran.
A what?
Any survivor of a veteran.
Children, underage
Yep,
children?
Yep, children who are still school age.
If you've got those problems, if you've got a problem that you need help with, don't be reluctant to seek that out. Don't be so proud that you won't try to get help, because it's there for you. And it's there for you for a very good reason. You earned it. You earn everything that they're offering to you. So take advantage of it. Go up and see, this is a nice guy. He's a great guy. But any veterans agent would be, I would assume, willing to help a veteran or their family, underage family, or their spouse. If the veteran is passed away, but his wife survives him, is she still entitled to any benefits?
Well, that's a complicated question, but the short answer is if the veteran who passed away, if he died of a service-connected injury, there still could be benefits through the VA. Think of it as the VA has all the money, or most of the money, and Mass General Laws Chapter 115 has monies that can help. But the big money is with the VA claims. The small money is through the veterans agent locally with the Mass General Law Chapter 115 application. And yes, those benefits do continue for the survivor of the veteran based on need. And need is determined by assets and income. And currently, the asset level for a single spouse who survived the husband, who was an honorably discharged veteran, is $5,000. And the maximum monthly income for the surviving spouse would be $2,010 per month, gross.
Does that include Social Security?
Yep, that's Social Security, pensions, any interest on any accounts, and assets would be savings, checking, certificates of deposits, 401ks, or whatever. So, so those two things, and it's pretty hard to qualify for those benefits, believe it or not, because, you know, currently everybody has a 401k. All the veterans getting out now, they've already have all of this, but the World War II and Korea, and to some extent the Vietnam era, they weren't really, they had a nest egg. The World War II veterans and their spouses, they had a nest egg, and that would be just enough to keep them from getting on benefits. So I would always tell them, I would say, listen, you must have a car payment. Pay off the car so that we can get you on benefits, or get your roof fixed, but you can't give away your assets to produce the need for veterans benefits. So I try to coach them how they can do it, keep the receipts, and allow me to get them on veterans benefits. But sometimes they're hard to...
You know, the VA medical,
Yep.
I go to the Brockton campus, and they treat me like a king. I've never been treated that way. You know, I'm a diabetic, and they call me. They call me at home. What doctor, what civilian doctor would do that? They call me at home to see how I'm doing.
That's awesome.
How are your numbers? Do you need this? Do you need that? And if I need something, it's mailed out to me. I get my prescriptions mailed to my door, right to my door.
Yep.
I don't know how you can beat that. I really don't. And the veterans agents I've known in Randolph, are very friendly with Jimmy Hurley over there, and you, Ken Morrison, over here, a lady by the name of Roxanne in Plymouth, and all first-class,
Yep.
top-shelf people,
Yep.
willing to help,
Yep.
willing to help. So, you know, when you said if you're a veteran or the spouse of a veteran, you've got a problem, maybe you can't solve it, but that's a damn good place to start right here with Ken Morrison.
Let me try.
Take that advice. Have you ever had a veteran that you considered suicidal? Because you read so much today about veterans committing suicide.
Because Carver is such a retirement community, 95% of my clients are all World War II, Korea, Vietnam. I see
Are they really?
Yep. I see very few returning veterans from the Gulf War.
How about Vietnam?
Oh, a lot. The Vietnam is similar, but the Gulf War is unique. There's nobody who comes back from that the way they went over there. They're all changed because one case, they had him barracked in one of those, like a tractor trailer box, and there were holes in the tractor trailer box from mortar rounds going through it. So every night this soldier's going to bed, and he's wondering, I wonder when the shells are going to come through tonight. Now, can you imagine living under that kind of stress for a year?
No, I can't.
So they all come back. They all need help, and you can pretty much spot it when they walk through the door, and your heart goes out to them because they've been changed.
It does. Of course it does.
So you try to direct them to get the help they need so that they can.
The biggest stress I have at this point in my life is eating my own cooking. You know, that's a very stressful event for me. But all joking aside, it's not joke when you come back a changed person. That's bad. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. The veterans that I've known, the veterans that I do know, we have a little, where I live in South Meadow Village, we have a veterans group that meets regularly. And they solve each other's problems. And I've talked to guys that were in Vietnam. I've talked to guys that were in Korea. And one or two that were in the Second World War. And one of them was in the China, Burma, India.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was talking with him the other day at Dunkin' Donuts. He happened to be there, and he called me over, and he's 93 years old, and he says he's suffering from early onset Alzheimer's. I don't believe it, because the guy's got a memory, and he talks about this, and he talks about that. So I asked him, I said, I'm going to do an interview with Ken Morrison. Have you ever had anything to do with him? He said, who's Ken Morrison? I said, he's a veterans agent in town. He said, well, I've never been to the veterans agent, so I don't know him. I said, haven't you ever had a medical problem or some kind of a problem? Oh, he said, sure, I've had medical problems. My wife is in the hospital now, but I don't go to the VA. I'm able to afford my own, so I have my own insurance and that kind of thing. So I wonder how many people out there are like that have never seen a veterans agent.
Yeah,
Have never been to a VA.
Yeah, that is the hard part of the job, is getting the word out to everybody.
Yeah. Before we go any further, I've got to tell you something. Ken Morrison's been doing this for 17 years. 16 years. And he's got 3 children, a beautiful wife. He's a great guy. And we're going to lose him. No, he's not sick. He's not sick. I don't mean that. He's going to retire. He's going to call his life his own once again. And I'm sure it's mixed emotions, because I know you enjoy what you're doing. But there comes a time in your life when you want to do something that you enjoy every day. Am I right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. How do you feel about it? What are you going to do?
Well, my grandchildren are starting to get to the point where you can play with them and they know who you are. And, 2.5 and almost a year old. And it is just such a pleasure. And of course, my daughter and her husband work, and I want to be able to help them. I mean, I've been working in government now since, geez, got to be 45 years.
45 years.
Yeah.
You don't look 45 years old, Ken. No, you don't. You don't.
Yeah.
You know, if you get a chance, pick up your phone, call the veterans agent here in town, and wish him good luck. When are you leaving? What's the last day?
Well, that's complicated because I'm not going to leave until I have a succession plan in place, and I have it just about there. And you mentioned somebody who's going to be taking over, and that is Roxanne.
Roxanne?
Roxanne in Plymouth
Really?
has a district. She already takes care of the veterans in Plymouth and in Plimpton, and I called her about a year ago and I said, Roxanne, I need help. I can't do this job the way I've been doing it. I need somebody in the office because between the phone and people walking in and getting all the paperwork done for the state on the computer, I can't manage it the way I want to manage it.
Give me a date when you're going to leave.
I'll give you a range between March 15th and March 31st.
Okay, somewhere in there, pick up the phone. Wish him good luck. He deserves it. He deserves your attention, especially if you're a veteran. But even if you're not. However, remember, you young married people, you young unmarried ladies, he's a married man. Very devoted to his wife, so forget that. But wish him good luck. You got a website?
Yeah, on the town hall. We have,
On the town hall.
Veteran Services.
Go to the town hall, go to
Yeah.
Veteran Services website, and type in congratulations, good luck, whatever. I think he deserves it. And we got about 1 minute left. Anything you want to say to the people?
Yeah, I didn't mention it, but back, what got me into this job was a bunch of reasons. But one thing, I feel I have a great debt to the town of Carver because my house got struck by lightning back in 1998, and the outpouring of the community. All my kids were at the Carver Middle School and high school, and the outpouring to help my family was just unbelievable.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Anything my family can do for this town,
Well, from what I know of you, my friend, when I first moved here, you were handling television at that time, by the way. You were a cameraman.
We were just learning how to do all that. We were trying to help.
And so you were helping the town even way back then, and you've helped them even more because you're the veterans agent. But beyond that, I know you're involved with the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, and all kinds of things. This man has got more things that he's doing than I can list here. We're running out of time, Ken. I gotta say goodbye, and of course I wish you good luck. Area 58 wishes you good luck. And anytime you want to come back, I know you love to be in front of the camera. Anytime you want to come back, I'm available to you. So until then, we wish you the best of luck. And I'm going to be back, as I told you, with a lady who owns her own business, which is a little unusual, and I think you're going to enjoy her. So until then, keep a song in your heart. Goodbye, and God bless. Thanks, Ken.